Welcome to another episode of Driving a Startup. How often you have seen blind or visually impaired people on the road and you wonder what kind of solutions do they have to walk around busy streets of any city or in an entire country of ours? With the technological advancements that are happening in every sector, it's sad to say that we don't have very practical solutions for these people to improve their life. Today, we are talking to a company called SunQulp, who has made this beautiful IoT device, very practical to use and helping navigate these people's life for betterment. We have Amit here today on our podcast. He's a founder of SunQulp and made this tremendous success on this particular product. Have been loved by our government startup communities for giving them a huge grant for building this product. Let's get started with him and talking more about this product. Good afternoon, Amit. How are you?
Hello everybody.
Thank you so much for doing this with us यार. आप एक तो दिल्ली से आज ट्रैवल करके आए for this podcast and me and Gurman were discussing यार कि बहुत फाइट दे दी इनको.
नहीं, it's worth it, I guess.
I really hope that get to learn from you, from the product and the company that you're running today. When we first identified you or started discussing about you, I think one of the comments that we received among the team was कि यार बंदा काम तो बहुत solid कर रहा है. So
Thank you for that.
that was the first instinct and a compliment that our team was giving for the product and everything. Very exciting work that you're doing. I personally congratulate you on achieving what you have achieved on this product, right?
Yeah.
I think it's very rarely that we see startup which has a very high impact.
True.
That and a very personal touch impact also sometimes that I see, right? That your product is able to get to, right? I think I'm trying to build this suspense for everyone, but then why don't we quickly start and understand this masterpiece of product that you have built, right?
Yeah.
And give me a sense on how does it work and what it is. First of all, let's start with that, right? What have you done?
Yeah.
Let's try to talk that to our audience.
Yeah, so to give you guys a context, we are working on solving a very fundamental problem of the blind people,
Right.
which is their basic mobility. Like एक point से दूसरे point पे जाना पैदल चल के, which is seems very basic task to normal people like us, but for the visually impaired people, especially in countries like India, it is a very much hassle. मतलब the environments that they are familiar in, वहाँ पे तो they are very well adjusted to. But suppose there is a visually impaired person, he wants to go to a place of his work, place of his education.
Right.
बीच में there are a lot of nuances, right? So we want to solve that very basic need. चलना, मतलब इससे basic तो I don't think anything could be.
Man, it is if you see, I've never thought about it this way, but अगर एक blind person है तो it's almost also paralyzed person also at some extent, right? While they are able to walk and everything, but it's very limited as you're mentioning to that distance and
Yeah, true. So in a sense, it's restricting their freedom, right?
restricting.
And I don't think anything could be like having more value than freedom, right?
Correct.
It is the biggest virtue that a person can have, being born in the modern world, right?
Right.
So we want to give that same power to the visually impaired people also. So yeah, to give you an idea about our solution. So we want to solve that very fundamental need of walking, right? So we have made a assistive product for the blind people, which provides a real-time guided navigation in vocal form.
Okay.
So vocal in the sense it speaks in human voice to a person. कि let's say आप चल रहे हो, right? और आपकी आंखों पे पट्टी बंधी हुई है. आपको पता चलेगा नहीं कि आपके आसपास क्या है. And there is one friend of you with you जो आपको बता रहा है कि नहीं, right से इधर से हो जा, सामने से कुछ आ रहा है आपको कुछ बहुत करीब आ रहा है तो आपको हेल्प कर रहा है. So it is just like that कि having a buddy with you which gives you a real time understanding of your immediate surroundings. और जो भी obstacles वगैरह हैं, tells you about that. And you can navigate your way peacefully from there, from these kind of situations. It could be in indoors, semi-indoors, or even outdoor situations.
How big? I'm feel stupid to not know at least this, but what kind of or how many people do you think there are in India with this kind of disorders?
Yeah,
You'd be
surprised to know.
I'm sure I will be.
Yeah, of course. So let's take a guess. How much do you think the problem? That's the size of problem could be the affected people.
इंडिया में होंगे 25-30 लाख लोग जो मैं मान सकता हूँ कि विजुअली नहीं होंगे.
It's way off the actual number. So in India, there are more than 3 crore blind people.
My God.
So that is more than the total population of small countries like Nepal. So जितने नेपाल में total population है उससे ज़्यादा blind लोग हमारे इंडिया में हैं. And yeah, they are in dire need of a assistive solution.
And today the solution that I can assume, I'm sure there must be more, but the stick that they carry or the
Yeah, so the traditional age-old solution is stick, which is a very basic, crude solution, right?
Right.
उसके बाद there have some variations in the stick only.
Right.
So there have been smart variations of the stick only.
Right.
So in a stick, they have put it certain sensors, distance sensors only. And what it does is it vibrates when something comes close to you to give you intuition of the surroundings, right?
I think I've
So yeah, so you like a blind person holds the stick में sensor लगा है, एक vibration motor लगा है, and if something comes close, it vibrates. And depending on the distance, the intensity of the vibration, changes, which is not a very intuitive form of output, and they are not doing a very good job at it.
Okay.
And typically what we are seeing is कि जो blind people are, they don't use the product.
Isn't this a most necessity or necessary?
It is necessary, but
They should have.
I think it defeats the purpose. Right. वो इतना chaotic हो जाता है, इतना clunky हो जाता है कि they prefer to remove the smart part of it, और जो stick आती है उसको use करते हैं.
But in some form, it's also an indication to the general audience out there that the person has a disability, right? Which is
ये भी बहुत सेंसिटिव टॉपिक है. सी व्हाट वी ऑब्जर्व्ड इज कि जो ब्लाइंड पीपल है ना, किसी की भी बात कर लो, मतलब जनरल पॉपुलेशन आल्सो, एवरीबॉडी वांट्स टू हैव अ सेंस ऑफ प्राइड.
obviously.
नोबडी वांट्स टू बी लेफ्ट आउट या फिर ऐसे करना कि नहीं, एक इंडिकेटर, नोबडी वांट्स टू पुट हैव अ इंडिकेटर ऑन देयर बैक. सो एक बार वो भी था ऐसा. लेट मी टेल यू इंटरेस्टिंग केस. पास्ट में एक इनिशिएटिव लिया था गवर्नमेंट ने कि ऐसा करते हैं कि जो भी ब्लाइंड लोग हैं, मतलब एक प्रपोजल था, इट वाज नॉट इम्प्लीमेंटेड फुली, छोटे स्केल पे हुआ था, कि जो भी ब्लाइंड पीपल हैं उनको एक इंडिकेटर देते हैं, लाइक जैसे कंस्ट्रक्शन वर्कर्स के लिए होता है ना, द फ्लोरेसेंट जैकेट व्हिच शाइन्स इन द डार्क.
Yeah, but I assume that though they do use irrespective, isn't it? मतलब
द कंस्ट्रक्शन, ऑफ कोर्स दे यूज, बट जो ब्लाइंड पीपल का जो वही सेम आइडिया इम्प्लीमेंट करने का प्लान हुआ, सो द ब्लाइंड विजन impaired community is so strong कि जो एक बार सेंस ऑफ वर्ड which spreads, वो इतना ज़्यादा बैकलैश हो गया उसमें कि वो बोलने लगे कि यार आप लोग तो हमको सीधा सीधा लेबल कर रहे हो कि ये ब्लाइंड पर्सन है, he deserves sympathy.
was the more secure or more identified person ताकि
See, अभी की सोसाइटी में क्या है ना कि everybody wants to feel included. This is a modern society. Technology is everywhere, and with democratization, with capitalism, everybody is coming on the same page. India में at least middle class पे सब लोग आ रहे हैं. So nobody wants to be felt in a way कि यार नहीं ये या फिर इससे ज़्यादा है या फिर इससे कम है.
हाँ, I think I can relate it. I think I understand कि maybe they don't want to just keep a constant wearable reflector jackets and everything, but I think the intent is right कि अब रात को अगर travel कर रहे हो, if there's a guy who's wearing specifically that jacket, the idea is that people can be aware and could be concerned, on at least considerate about the fact that there's a disabled person. I should maybe reduce my car speed, or I should not just bang into him, right? Or don't move too close to him and stuff like that, which is, but I understand why they would not. But then
So a typical clash of need and want.
makes sense. So assistive tech may I always used to get very fascinated with the two-wheeler assistive tech for people who are maybe not paralyzed but have walking disabilities and stuff, right? That gave them a very great mobility,
Of course.
sense, right? But चल नहीं सकता था बंदा, लेकिन अब वो literally he can be a guy who can take that three-wheeler. I see a lot of such three-wheeler. It's a two-wheeler converted with two more tires.
So he's as good as a mobile person.
Correct.
No.
Correct. Now he can work. He can
He can
something
work. He
very
can go
different.
to his educational institution. He can do everything.
Everything. He can study. कुछ
So he can be economically self-sufficient also. अपनी family का वो भी financial he can take care of. So हाँ, मतलब it makes a person equal to a normal person.
correct.
So yeah, that is the context of it.
And that's the agenda with your company as well. I'm assuming that you want to be
True.
not
Right.
seeing them left out, but being more included.
So the value system of a person is freedom, and then there is the needs that he wants to be satisfied, right? It could be financial, it could be social, it could be status driven, and it could be among in this area. So we want to solve those very fundamental needs. एक तो freedom वाला हो गया
Okay.
कि अगर they'll have the same mobility solutions, so they can have a freedom to go to any place, right? और उसके बाद ये है कि he wants to have a sense of freedom to go any place, freedom to do what he wants to do, and freedom to live life on his own terms, right? Which is enabled by our product.
And today it's fairly restricted, I believe, in some form of it. Like while they are able to move from point A to point B,
So the
it is
typical
time to change their entire assistive tech for them. Maybe the sticks were one of the solutions and everything.
right,
But
and it has done a good job, right? अब तक it has been a traditional solution. It is not perfect, but it's still it does the job what it intends to do, right?
right.
एक बुढ़ापे की लाठी का भी same functionality है. So उसमें it satisfies the need.
Right.
But in our modern society, the needs are evolving constantly. Also, you want to have a better sense of your surrounding.
Absolutely.
for in context of a visually impaired person, right? So it helps them with that. It typically having a range. So our product has a range of around 15 feet. So the entire area of 15 feet into 15 feet, front and back, is covered.
Right.
So a person can walk with confidence, with more increased pace.
Right. Let's talk about the product. I'm sure there is also an improved version which you are launching.
Yeah, so this is a crude prototype version one, which we did the testing and validation with.
So the way it works is, if you can tell me if my understanding is right on this, that you have multiple sensors on the product,
Yes.
right? Which are assessing the entire surrounding. He wears it like a vest, right, on top of his t-shirt or a shirt that he has, right? It carries all the technologies here as a power.
Yes,
Which has the power that it needs, and it is powered by a power bank.
Typical mobile power.
Typical mobile USB power bank that you have. And then you have this as the peaking device.
Yes.
Giving them the indication of what is happening.
So that is the unique part, which is not present in any of the solution worldwide.
Right.
So our product is first of its kind in the world to give a real-time vocal output. Okay. So like in your mobile phone, you have Google Assistant or Apple Siri, which talk to you and assist you with your mobile-related tasks. ऐसे ही with SmartVest you have a buddy with you, which will help you work by telling you in human voice in your context कि आपके 5 feet दूर पे कुछ है, आपके 6 feet दूरी पे कुछ है.
Right.
Also having alert cases like for critical cases, like something coming very close to a person or something coming running towards a person, like a running person or a car. So उन emergency situation में
so पीछे से भी आपको बताएगा, which was a little unread, right? Because आप अगर stick के साथ जो current form of doing mobility with people is that they have no sense on what's happening at the back, right?
So the back also needs to be covered. What we felt.
So very nice, and it just gets tied up. And आप तो reflector तो वैसे इसमें भी लगा सकते हो, just to give extra sense of security.
We planned.
But talk to me about the whole R&D process of it. I mean, I'm sure there is definitely a story behind why did you identify the problem. We'll come to that. But I just want to understand, how did you build it? What time it took? And what kind of efforts did it take? What any stories around that would be very nice.
So the story goes back to my college time.
Okay.
When I was doing my BSc. So I did my BSc in physics from Hindu College DU.
Okay.
So I'm a typical Delhi boy, born up there. And so, while I was doing my summer internship in the second year, so typically you get a break of around 1 to 1.5 months. And typically what people do is they go to their homes and they chill out. I decided to stay back in my hostel and do a summer internship in a nearby institution, which was related to doing stuff that you like in terms of electronic projects and these kind of things.
Was it like a lab or something?
Yeah, so there was a lab, a center actually, DS Kothari Center.
Okay.
It was in Miranda House. So that is the girls' college near Hindu College.
Okay.
So that was one of other motivations.
Right, I'm sure it is.
In summer. So of course, after I started doing my internship, so I was wondering around what projects to look at and what to see. And I was initially, since the beginning, interested in electronics and these kind of things. In the center only, a smart stick was on the display, which was developed by IIT Delhi at the time. So it was again the same smart stick, having a distance sensor and a vibration motor. And फिर उससे मैंने देखा ना, तो मेरे को लगा कि यार इसको तो बहुत improve किया जा सकता है. मतलब at least I can make certain changes in this to make it more useful, make it more intuitive for a person.
Right.
And I had the hardware skills at the time because I was learning microcontrollers and robotics and these kind of things at the time.
This is when you're 2021. What age were you?
So I was 18-19 के बीच में. I started developing the concept. वहाँ से develop होना शुरू हुआ. And also there were certain visually impaired people in our college also, which I happened to be friends with at some point of time. So मैं उनके पास गया, उनसे बात की. So there was a validation also कि जो ये product है ना, it is how it's not helping them, how it could be improved, या फिर इसमें और क्या क्या changes लाए जा सकते हैं.
How was the conversation that you had with your friends in regards to कि यार ये are the problem I am aware that you are facing, and when you had nothing but you had a concept in your mind and you sort of had a conversation with him, what did you tell him?
Yeah.
What did you tell him?
So
Sure, give me an answer. How candid it was कि यार
वही मैं
दोस्ती कैसे बात कर रहे होंगे आप इसमें?
हाँ, कॉलेज था, दोस्ती थे. So there was no filter, of course. So बस वही है कि जो छोटा है वो पूछा कि यार ऐसे प्रोडक्ट है, मतलब क्या सीन है इसका, तुम लोगों को कैसे यूज करते हो और कैसे इसका मतलब what is the benefit of it actually, यूजफुल है भी कि नहीं, तुम कैसे लेते हो. या द स्मार्ट स्टिक्स. सो उसने बताया कि नहीं यार यूजफुल तो नहीं है, और हम लोग उसका सेंसर निकाल के स्टिकी यूज करते हैं बेसिकली. तो उसने बताया भी कि दिक्कत उसमें क्या क्या होती है, कि इट बिकम्स वेरी क्योटिक फॉर देम, और कोई रियल सेंस ऑफ इंट्यूशन होता नहीं है. बिकॉज वाइब्रेशन इंटेंसिटी डजंट कन्वर्ट डायरेक्टली टू योर मेंटल मैथमेटिक्स की इतने फीट दूर पे कुछ है या फिर इतने उस पे कुछ है, राइट?
Okay.
Also, one major issue with that is alignment issue. So typically how blind people operate a stick is they probe the surroundings. So stick को एक जगह पे नहीं रखते, वो stationary नहीं रखते.
I've seen.
They probe right and left and right and left. That's how they move around. But with this stick, since you have a distance sensor, it has to be stationary. Right. So stick को आपको एक straight angle पे ही पकड़े रहना पड़ता है, जिससे आपका मतलब of course it's very uncomfortable for them. हाथ तो straight रख के नहीं चल सकते सारा दिन. So yeah, and that is the reason behind having a upper body, our product having upper body sensors.
Okay.
Because the upper torso part of a person is the most stable part when a person walks.
Okay.
Apart from that, your hands, your neck, legs, everything is moving. So in order to have a accurate, a precise reading, it has to be on your torso. So वहाँ से हुआ, plus an adding factor for that was कि upper body का जो protection है ना, that was not covered for the vision impaired people अभी तक जितने solution है, they were stick related. या फिर ज़्यादा क्या हुआ कि smart glasses वगैरह आ गए. That is a whole different topic, उसके बारे में बात करेंगे. But हाँ, जो upper body है, that is not covered for them. So हाँ, सोचा कि भाई यहाँ पे डालना है, it would be a better option. And yeah, that's how the idea came to be.
Okay. And from the whole first concept कि चलो मेरे को एक sensor based just बनानी है, which will give them an indicative idea of their surroundings. That was the primary solution statement that you were coming up with. And
right.
What does it took from that point to the R&D to testing it with about 200 people that you have tested the product with today?
Yeah, so around 200
people that you have tested the product with today. So what was that journey like?
Of course, it was very, chaotic.
Okay.
So yeah, a typical life cycle of an experiment is a thing works in the beginning. It gives you a sense of hope कि हाँ ये कर सकते हैं, ऐसा idea है, and it looks feasible, and then you start developing it, and when you go to the hardware part, when you go to the reality, then everything that could go wrong goes wrong. It takes a lot of time, right? And then eventually, going through sorrows, you get to see some sense of hope कि हाँ ये चल रहा है, यहाँ पे ये हो सकता है, ये चल रहा है, यहाँ पे ये हो सकता है. From what I've seen, मतलब what I like to believe is कि it tests you पहले कि are you worthy of developing something or not even. Okay. So yeah, that is there. हमने start किया college से. I started from scratch, like very basic wiring और hardware का setup, which I procured from nearby Lajpat Rai market from people in Delhi you'd know. So वहाँ से project का सामान मिलता था. I got the stuff from there, the sensors and everything. वहाँ से start किया. The typical the one breakthrough moment was कि when the audio idea came and it started working. So उसके पहले everything was vibrational. Everything was या तो haptic feedback हो गया, vibration होगा. Nothing was there कि जो audio form में हो. Right. So जो the earlier prototype, the crude version था POC, it started working with the audio. So yeah, that was a major breakthrough. उसके बाद we then went on to the placement of the sensors, the alignment and everything. कि इसको so that the thing is working, where to put it so that it could be the most efficient product for a person. So yeah, उसके बाद से जैकेट का डेवलपमेंट स्टार्ट किया था कॉलेज में ही. मतलब it was a typical college project. But then eventually my college ended after third year, and then I decided to go to Germany for my masters. Okay. So वहाँ पे the idea went into a shutdown. मतलब कुछ
some time. Okay.
Yeah, for a long time actually, for around 1.5 years. Okay. And then the lockdown happened. Okay. Which changed a lot of careers, I guess. Same for me. So yeah, as I told you, I was doing physics, BSc in physics from DU. Okay. And then I went for masters in Germany. Okay.
What was the masters?
Yeah, same physics. So I was interested in physics only, theoretical and experimental both. Okay. And I wanted to be a researcher and do PhD and then, do more in that field.
Okay, you're young, you can still do it. It's not like you wanted to do it and you still can't manage.
Yeah.
Okay. But considering that you're on this side.
I think, I love it. I mean, I'll plan to do it, but I don't think it's for me.
Okay, you're fine.
Yeah, the universe wants me to do that, I guess. Because as I was telling, lockdown आया, it changed a lot of careers. You were in your homes, you got to think a lot. Actually reflect on what you are actually doing and is it worth it or not, right? The sense of brevity, the sense of, that everything could be, everything can come to an end, basically. So तब सोचा कि यार करना है भी कि नहीं, or do I want to move to a separate country and do the research and contribute to their already developed economy. So then I decided कि नहीं यार startup करते हैं. As hard it could be, as as time taking it could be, especially in like developing economies like ours. But हाँ करते हैं. And then वो idea तो था ही, मतलब जो starting से था. And it had a sense of welfare. It had a sense of good, the ultimate good. So हाँ सोचा कि यार करते हैं. वहाँ से फिर startup start किया and I moved to Bangalore. So there was this startup incubator, RT Lab, Bangalore में था, which was based on disability focused startups.
Okay.
So I got the invitation from there कि I could get incubated and start working on my solution. Then I moved to Bangalore, development start किया product का, the actual product, like the variable one. And then after a long gestation period of not 1 year. After a long gestation of around 12 to 16 months, product ready हो गया, and then we went for the validation. Then the problem came of Bangalore में ये problem आई कि translation का issue था बहुत ज़्यादा.
Okay.
Since we wanted to test our product fully, मतलब take a candid feedback from every visually impaired person that we can. So वहाँ पे एक language error था because the visually impaired people are not very fluent in English and we didn't know Kannada. Staying here in Karnataka, so I decided to move to Delhi for the validation part. And since all the government ecosystem and the welfare ecosystem is there only, so then we moved to Delhi. We did the validation there with more than 100 visually impaired people.
Okay.
And then we started doing well in the financial terms also. थोड़ी funding वगैरह हमने उठा ली.
Okay.
We had a team. उसके बाद से we are here just very close to launching our product.
What a story. So ये पूरा जर्मनी से आने के बाद के प्रोडक्ट को मार्केट में लाने तक was a 2-year period of time that you almost
Including the lockdown.
Okay.
6-7 महीने का बीच का टाइम.
Fascinating है. That काफी ज़्यादा.
So that was my Swadesh moment.
It sounds very,
सस्ता स्वदेश. Yeah.
and it sounds very Swadesh. Yeah, it definitely is. Tell me this, while product that you're trying to build, there has been many government initiatives that has come in the past in this segment. Nationally, internationally, आपने I'm sure सब जगह देखा होगा. First of all, I'm not sure if the government has done any grant level work for you. Like, did they provide you any grants for something like this which you could have applied and worked with? Okay. Did you?
So अभी तक we have been funded through grants only.
Oh, is it? Okay.
So yeah, that is very commendable from our government.
Okay.
So the Startup India initiative and the the government, the push that is given by the government for the startup, that has been very helpful for us.
Right.
And we got a total funding of around 80 lakhs from the government.
Oh, wow.
Grants.
Very nice.
Yeah, and yeah, it's been very helpful, of course.
That has definitely would have helped you in your R&D process. And
Yes, right. So initially I invested my own personal funds of around 5 to 10 lakhs. Including my living expenses and everything in Bangalore. And then when we got the funding, we got to have a chance of having a team and having this product taken to a different level, to a professional level.
Right.
So yeah, that was the major factor, and thanks to the government for that.
very nice. So yeah, kudos to Startup India movements here, which are helping real genuine solutions, right? Which are gonna create a larger impact. And we do work with startups which are pitching into the government for the grants, and some of them are actually pretty nice, I think 25 से 30 लाख रुपए तो पक्का gain out कर ही सकते हैं.
Yes, that is a typical size.
Right.
And that could be a very big factor for the people who are just starting out, right?
Absolutely, it is. I mean, while there are private VC firms as well and funds as well which are providing quick early capital for people to experiment and test the product or build the product rather as well. But again, a lot of parameters that goes there.
So uska bhi there is a very different discussion, private funding versus government funding, right? दोनों का pros and cons are very different. So with government, you have an assured funding, but the timings are like through the roof. You don't know when you will get it.
When the money will actually come.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, typical, bureaucracy, and the process is it still needs certain improvements.
Right.
But with VCs, the thing is that you need to have traction. Right. Typically, अभी इंडिया में I guess अभी पिछले 4-5 साल
But impact funds जो startups होते हैं, impact funds जो impact startups को पैसा डालते हैं, they're quicker with the decisions and they're quicker in terms of deployment of money as well, and they do not expect the R&D phase to generate money. Right?
Yeah.
And there are multiple such impact funds that are there in the country which is ready to take that quick small bet on the founder and let's just say the impact of the product.
Yes. Yeah, that is the impact funds are an entirely different story, a success story actually.
Right.
Yeah, they're doing a very good job.
And you will find more impact funds coming in the country in the near future as well. And there has been in there for some time. And some of these funds are very big on ESG goals. They are very big on the kind of impact that you create for maybe the general audience or climate, right? Any of those things. So definitely. Sir Amit, fascinating product. मेरे को एक थोड़ी सी give me a journey, right, a timeline of the product from the idea that you first originated with the conversation that you had with your friends,
Yes.
right, who were visually impaired as well. How did that conversation went, and from there onwards the journey of the product and the gap that you took, and then of course you reignited this thought with, how was it, and what kind of an R&D or research or effort actually went in doing something like that?
So the story is interesting. It goes back to my college.
Okay.
So I did my bachelor's from DU, Hindu College. So I was doing physics honors there.
Yeah.
And then during one summer in my second year, and which is around 2018-19. So I went for a summer internship course in a nearby college, which is Miranda College, a girls' college, by the way. So yeah, I went for an summer internships, and the theme was around robotics and the stuff that you can do with it.
Okay.
And there, inside the center itself, there was this smart stick on the display, which was developed by IIT Delhi at the time.
Okay.
It was newly launched. Like it had a very buzz around it initially, and then it was on the display, and we got to feel it and how it works. And from there, I had the light bulb moment कि नहीं यार इससे तो we can do a much better job. And yeah, since I had a design mind, a hardware mind in तब शुरू से ही I had interest in microcontrollers, electronics. So yeah, certain things started coming to mind कि नहीं यार इसमें तो ऐसे improve कर सकते हैं, इसमें ये चीज़ डाल सकते हैं, इसमें ये सब कर सकते हैं. So हाँ, the idea came from there, the initial idea. Which became an obsession after a point. So then I thought कि नहीं यार इसका तो कुछ करना चाहिए. And anyway, I had to submit a project report for the internship. I had to justify my existence in the girls' college. So yeah, it became a true obsession. And then I went back to my. So I happened to be friends with a lot of visually impaired people in our college, which we got associated with through social works and these kind of things. So we had certain societies, social welfare societies, etc. So I had very good, candid visually impaired friends in my circle also.
Okay.
So I went to them, since they were back in their homes. Initially had a phone conversation with them कि यार जल्दी से बता ऐसे ऐसे है, इसका क्या सीन है, और मतलब is it really helping you, सच में ऐसा है कि नहीं है. The smart stick actually, yes. So yeah, there I came to know कि नहीं यार ये तो बिल्कुल भी it's not very useful for us, it's not very practical. The sense of vibrational feedback is not very intuitive in real world. It does not translate to a very comfortable solution. Right. Because with stick you have to keep it aligned straight all the times to have accurate reading.
Wow, isn't supposed to be tapped around?
Yes, right. So the typically how a visually impaired person operates a stick is they probe their surroundings, doing tap, and that's how they're trained also.
Right.
Okay, you have to have a information about right and left, at least in an angle span of 135 degree.
Okay.
Yeah, so 135 to 150 degree, which is a fairly wide distance to cover in a in different direction. So yeah, so they do tap to tap, and the stick, which is the smart stick, the requirement is that it has to be kept straight all the times. The alignment has to be straight. So yeah, or typically a person won't be holding his stick straight for full day. So yeah,
practical.
Yeah, that's not very practical. और उसके बाद भी even if he manages to do so, the output that he gets is not very intuitive.
Okay.
Because typically what they do is they vibrate when something comes in
their hand,
in their vicinity. Yeah. And depending on the distance of the incoming obstacle, the intensity varies, which sounds, good on the paper, but in real life, it's not very intuitive for them because they won't know what is very close to them and what is not very close, right?
It becomes overwhelming if it keeps vibrating because there is always going to be something around.
True, that is also there. Apart from that, the bigger problem that I came to know from them is that कि यार upper body obstacle का हमारा कुछ नहीं होता. And typically when we go to, outdoors, footpath वगैरह पे, there is always a chance, always the insecurity of something coming, in their upper body direction, like a tree branch or a lorry and these kind of things. And one of my friend had a case also कि एक बार वो जाते जाते एक lorry से टकरा गया था. So तब वहाँ पे जाके hit हुआ कि नहीं यार upper body के लिए we should do something, since already we have sticks for the lower body, so that is not required also. So yeah, idea वहाँ से start हुआ कि ऐसा कुछ बनाना पड़ेगा. And उसके बाद I did some like observations with the visually impaired people, like how they operate in their life. So वहाँ से एक और सेंस मिला कि यार our sensors has to be placed on the upper body because that is the most stable part of a person when he walks, right? So अगर upper body पे sensors होंगे तो the alignment issues won't be there, and you'll have a accurate reading most of the times. Right. So yeah, that was the logic behind having upper body wearable jacket, wearable vest.
Very, very nice. Yeah, well thought, yeah. I mean, I'm sure there were so stick was okay. the upper body is something that you found a very better solution out of this. I have also seen some very advanced technologies which are also using camera and eyewears, which are also helping people.
Yes, true. So like Google Glasses, there are certain object recognition, image processing glasses,
Right.
which do the environment scanning for you and give you a description of your surroundings, right?
Again, a very audio based.
Yeah, it's a audio based solution, and it's a very Western solution, to be frank. And they are more suited for Western environments because you need internet connectivity all the times.
Okay.
They are very costly, first of all. वो तो बताना मैं भूल ही गया कि
कितने costly?
so they cost at around 7 to 8 lakhs to import in India. And
Wow.
आज तक in my whole journey of being with the visually impaired people, I have seen only one person
Has it?
having it and using it fairly.
Fair. Okay.
So yeah, that is out of question in our country.
Let's try and understand how much do you sell this product for?
Yeah, so we sell our product at around 10K, the basic version,
Okay.
and then
Expensive, isn't it?
no, in a context of the assistive solution for the visually impaired people, it is very cheap.
Or is it?
To give you a context, there are certain audio players for the visually impaired people, which are like a remote control, and you put in your USB, and it reads out your audiobooks.
Okay. Audio.
They sell at around 15K. So yeah,
Audiobooks 15 की यार podcast सुन तो सकते हैं हमारा वो मतलब I don't understand. But what do they? So the it's a content to teach them. That's what.
yeah. So you could have all of your academic books and all these kind of books read out to you.
हाँ तो उसके लिए तो इतना महंगा.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to tell you.
It's like a very cheap solution any which ways.
Yeah, and they sell at this cost. So our solution
किसका subscription कम का आता है यार?
True. Yeah.
to think about. But the way so how are you like when you say it's about 10K? Give me some sense on the business. So अगर 10,000 रुपए में आप ये बेच रहे हो, कितने कस्टमर हैं आज की डेट में आपके पास इस करंट प्रोडक्ट जो आप लॉन्च कर? अच्छा तो उससे भी R&D हुई है ना प्रोडक्ट?
So we are pre-launch very soon. We are planning to launch very soon.
Okay.
In next 1 to 2 weeks, our web platform will be live.
Right. How are you planning to sell it? What is the
Yeah.
How is it?
So that is the interesting part.
Okay.
In the context of assistive product for the visually impaired people, basic or in general assistive products, right, which are more into social welfare and this category, healthcare category.
Okay.
The typical scene is ki the users are not the customers, and that is the catch behind having a audiobook reader selling at around 15K.
Okay.
Because the user and the customer, they are very dissociated. So the person using it is not paying for it.
Okay, I'm confused.
Yeah, so the typical model is through distribution. So the golden triangle is government, CSR and NGOs.
And it makes total sense. So a CSR or an NGO or a government initiative to distribute such jackets would order in with you, and they would be your primary customers who are buying this. And
Yes.
very nice. And then it reaches to the right audience for no cost, I believe.
Yeah, which is ultimately good in a sense.
Of course.
Yeah, because
Although if somebody can afford it, I'm not sure. Like, what's the income range do we have with visually impaired people? I'm sure they must be earning some money for sure, but I'm pretty sure not the usual money. So this was given by the government as part of the, let's just say, even a security or a mobility product to challenge them to do more things and then maybe make a better living and a better life for themselves. And I think I would call it a commodity good if it started doing something like that. Honestly, if we are able to make somebody's life better for earning more money. Yes, that's what the whole the three-wheeler thing as we just discussed, right?
Same as well. This is a typical case of stimulus and distribution kits from the government.
Right.
So for the visually impaired people, the government has a assigned kit which is to be distributed to the visually impaired people.
Right.
Which contains smart sticks, smart readers, braille learning devices, and all the things, the simple toys and all the learning toys, right? The things that could be helpful for them to be better included in the society, and they are distributed to them for free. And there are certain age ranges, like around for the visually impaired people. So for a visually impaired person aged between 6 to 15, he'll have a different sort of toys to play around.
Makes sense.
And for an adult person, the products in the kit change.
Correct.
And after a person is like fairly adult, not fairly adult, मतलब थोड़ा बड़ा हो जाता है around 15-18 के आसपास. So through government, a mobile phone is being distributed to them every 1 or 2 years.
We have no idea that such things are happening. So yeah, kudos to the government. So yeah, I mean, awesome product. Yeah, अच्छा है आप जो ये काम कर रहे हो, this is commendable. Let's talk about business a little bit here. So आप 10,000 रुपए के आसपास प्रोडक्ट को बेचने की बात कर रहे हो. So try to answer me this. First of all, once you are ready with your production capacity, what kind of production capacity are we looking at? And do you have a demand for that from either NGO or a government? Do you have something in this pipeline that you have to deliver, right? Give me some sense on that.
Yeah, so let me start by the market distribution. So as I told, 3 crore blind people in India. So we consider our total addressable market to be the same, 3 crore blind people that year. And the addressable market, considering the age and reach factors, comes at around 30 lakhs.
Okay.
And for the first 5 years, we're aiming at around 5 lakhs.
Okay.
5 lakh visually impaired people. So we want to reach 5 lakh customers.
Right.
Not customers, 5 lakh users in our first 5 years.
Right.
So yeah, which converts to a revenue of around 500 crore. Mathematics थोड़ा गलत हो गया, I guess.
हाँ थोड़ा सा गलत है, but ठीक है, we don't want to talk about revenue, but overall मेरे को ये जानना है कि जो ये ऑर्डर आएगा आपका, सपोज गवर्नमेंट से एक ऑर्डर है, तो सीधा एक बड़ा ऑर्डर ही आता है दिस अमाउंट,
Yes.
राइट? सो आपको शायद 200, 500, 1000 pieces की डिप्लॉयमेंट करनी पड़ेगी. सो द करंट कैपेसिटी ऑफ प्रोडक्शन आपकी है with the current money that you are burning on it, the production that
Yeah, with the current money, the thing that we do is we deploy third-party manufacturers.
right.
So the product is developed by the third-party manufacturers, and we take care of the distribution part.
Okay.
So currently we are manufacturing it ourselves, assembling with our hands only.
Correct.
And when we have a big order, we go to like these third-party manufacturers,
Okay.
which take orders per bid, like per 1,000 units or per number of units that you want to build, right? And you get a quotation based on that only.
Right.
So yeah, uske baad we will have to go to third parties, and then eventually when you have a big order, when you have a big business, then we plan to set up our own manufacturing setup.
Right. How much time does it take to make one?
So
थर्ड पार्टी मैन्युफैक्चर से करा रहे हो, आप नहीं कर रहे हो तो?
yeah, so let's take an example for an order value for 1,000 units. So they deliver the 1,000 units in 2 to 3 weeks. So yeah, the typical time cycle is around 20 days.
20 days में आप 1000 डेवलप कर सकते हो ऐसे.
Yes. Development and distribution.
That's pretty nice actually.
Yeah.
You have decent capacity
Yeah.
to cater. तो अगर आप साल के 1 लाख users, which maybe accumulates to maybe 10 customers, right? 1,000 pieces each if somebody is trying to order it.
Right.
At a hospital or an NGO or a government institute that is doing, or a school for matter of fact. Then you have a big order that
Yeah.
are planning to execute, and it will eventually make a decent amount of money as well. So this entire story in terms of the business side of thing, I'm sure you've already taken good amount of grant from the government. I think government would have given this money as an impact startup that you are, right? But if you were to take this to a private market and everything, what is the kind of fundraise that you need to make this happen from here at this point? What are you planning to raise?
Right. So abhi tak we have raised around 1 CR,
Okay.
which went into R&D and setting up our team and everything.
Correct.
Now we're on the phase of accelerating. We want to expand. Since we are very close to launching of our products. So a typical fundraise, the funding size that we look forward to is around 0.5 million to 1 million.
Okay.
So yeah, that is there, and which would be used for accelerating, expanding in India only.
Right. Creating, making marketing it, production थोड़ा और बड़ा हो गया, आप
Right.
टाइम ज़्यादा बड़ा हो गया. Okay.
Right. And then eventually we want to move global, because since this product is unique in the world, and so ये narrative we want to, ये narrative हम push करना चाह रहे हैं कि this is a product from India to the world.
Right.
Like लॉकडाउन के टाइम पे इंडिया ने वैक्सीन्स दी वर्ल्ड को, एंड देन अब हम लोग ऐसा करना चाह रहे हैं कि विद आर वेंचर, विद आर स्टार्टअप संकल्प,
Right.
we want to provide a solution to the world through India, through Startup India, coming through India.
Jai Mata Di to your vision, yaar. Honestly, it is going to be very helpful and exciting. The way it can impact to a majority of people's life. I would love to see the final product also, and will definitely be a spokesperson for you wherever that I can speak about this as a product that solves genuine problems, right? And deserves a great, commendable applause for building something like this. That is most certainly is going to be very, very much there on my thoughts all the time when I'll talk about. So let's try and understand a little bit more on the advancement that you are planning on the product in the future, right? Like if I were to do this business, let's say, and from the business side of things, I think I would have spent a good amount of money and creating awareness of the product and making sure that it is a thing that everybody understands and why it is so important to have this product. Is like I would create campaigns which will sort of define how it is changing somebody's life and what it is actually doing for them. I would like to create an awesome distribution, national, international channel today, right? You have to be very content heavy. You have to do a good amount of marketing to sort of let people know that the product does this for somebody, right?
The major thing that we need is the narrative building, of course.
Correct. और straightforward story है, इतनी बड़ी problem है, इतना आपके पास एक working solution है that you spend enough time in your R&D and made a very viable solution. Which
see, that is the irony of it. The problem इतनी बड़ी है and it sounds very obvious, right?
Right.
But ये उन चीज़ों में से है कि which gets hidden under the carpet kind of thing, right?
Sure.
इससे पहले I don't think much of our users would have heard or considered about the lives of visually impaired people. Yet we see a lot of visually impaired people in our lifetime, right? And after that, I'm sure you guys will have a lot of cognitive bias. Now you'll notice every visually impaired person that you see on your on roads and everywhere.
Right.
So yeah, that is there. That is the irony of it.
I would have said that I would have noticed them, but where have I ever thought that is there a solution that exists which can change something in their life?
Right.
With regards to that one specific problem, obviously people have a lot of problems, but with regards to that, no, I wouldn't say I have. I have not thought about it at all, and thanks to you that now I have a thought that is just not a thought that I can give it to it on a sympathetic level, but I have something which is more working and a good solution to anybody that if I ever have this kind of conversation to.
Yeah.
So that is commendable and fantastic. Right. So awesome, Amit. Thank you so much for doing this with us and enlightening it with the entire product that we have. As I said, hands down to you and your team to build this, right? And I would love to see this succeed and be there with the first 3 crore people that we have, and everyone. It should be with everyone. And I do not, and I would wish that the people that who are using it, it changes their life good.
Thank you very much. That is all we need.
Thank you, Amit. Okay.